Wonderful to be here.
Yeah.
Before I begin to say what I need to say, would like to say that my situation has brought me great clarity, even though it has brought a lot of contrast too.
Yes.
Currently, my marriage is in strain, and that's because my daughter's a teenager, and there's been certain situations where I think she's not aligned when she's making decisions, and that's where I step in, and the mom is more open to let her experience certain things. There has been times where things have been hidden from me. So my question would be, should I just allow, even if I see that my daughter is in a position where she's not making a decision that is purely aligned, and as a father?
Well, here's the thing. You have to decide, are you trying to teach behavioral control, or are you wanting to teach, through the clarity of your example, alignment and therefore inspired behavior?
That's what I want.
Because what happens if you don't allow someone to find their own alignment, if you don't allow them to feel their own freedom, they just get sneaky. And then it becomes this behavioral thing where you're keeping things from us that you shouldn't keep from us, where what's really going on is that you are sticking your nose in where it doesn't belong. And we know these are harsh sounding words to well-meaning parents, but so many parents really believe that their children aren't wise, that they will make bad decisions, and so they need to make all of the decisions for them. And there are a number of problems with that. First, your children never get good at making decisions if someone else is making them for them. Next, you are setting a very powerful message forward that says you are not to be trusted, which perpetuates more mistrust. So when you think about what your true objective is, which if we were standing in your physical shoes as parents, or in your shoes as teachers or mentors, or if we were standing in our own non-physical, non-shoes, wanting to assist you in happier life experience, we would have one objective and one objective only as it relates to other people, and that is, what could I do, what could I say, what could I think, what could I emit vibrationally that will support their belief in their own alignment, their accomplishment of their own alignment. Because you can make rules and requirements, you can make lists of do's and don'ts. Humandom is doing that all over the place. And then you become those that have to enforce. You can't even agree on what the rules are. In other words, things get to be quite in a mess, don't they?
Yes.
As you are trying to control behavior. And so we just have some simple questions for you. Have you been able to effectively achieve any consistent control over anyone in your entire life? And here's another question. Do you enjoy it when anyone attempts to control you?
Absolutely not.
So it isn't your nature. We had a whole segment here with our furry friend and our less furry friend a little bit ago, where what is being reached for is that alignment. What is being reached for is that feeling of freedom. Everything that he talked about was wanting freedom. It is the basis of that which all is. The basis of your life is freedom. You are so free you can choose bondage. Your objective is joy, and the upshot of continuing to be is expansion. So that triad of intentions is equal, the three legs that it stands on, but freedom is a given. No one can offer a vibration for you, but do you want to influence the vibration of someone that you care about in a way that causes them to be less aligned with who they are? So when you make any rules, what you actually are saying to someone is, I see that you're not smart enough to do this for yourself, so I do this for you. Well, there's not a rule in the world that could give you the benefit that that rule is taking away. Talk about undermining everything, you see. So of course you don't want to all of a sudden, we can hear arguments from you a bit around because you really do believe that you have to protect your children or that you have to teach them. But we're just asking you to teach through the clarity of your example. So our words to any parent would be, find alignment with who you are and then say whatever you're inspired to. find alignment, and then translate, then receive your inspiration. Because when you do that, you're receiving inspiration that includes everything that your child wants, where they are in relationship to it. Then your wisdom will be wisdom that will be helpful to them, you see. And it will sound more like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I just am emphasizing my desire for well-being for you. I'm not trying to control you. I'm just wanting to leave you in the best possible place that you can guide yourself in a productive way. And really, I'm trying to do the impossible. I'm trying to protect you from some of the mistakes I made, as if that were even possible. And it's our promise to you that if you foster a child or anyone into a position where they begin to believe in their own well-being, when they begin to trust, then as you watch them, they will intuitively know what to do. Someone who is restricted in a very powerful way usually demonstrates the very thing that you have restricted them from. Esther's Jerry, used to tell her the story because he was in the entertainment business for many, many years before she met him. And he met lots of strippers in the nightclubs, and he was a master of ceremony. And he said, as our friend said a minute ago, something similar, almost all of them were preachers' daughters.
In there.
Almost without exception. The most repressed were those that were displaying their freedom in the most outrageous ways that they could discover. And what's interesting about it is that they were not following their own guidance. They were just demonstrating the vibration that was most active in them. And the vibration that was most active in them was the vibration that had been pushed against the most in their life experience. You see what we're getting at? So don't make war with your child's mother, and don't make war with your child. Make peace with your own inner being, and then follow the inspiration that comes once you've made that peace, you see. Don't make it about them. Make it about you. So if you can hold worrisome thoughts about your daughter and feel good, of course you can't. So those worrisome thoughts that you hold separate you from your guidance, and so then your guidance isn't worth much. You see, you have to think thoughts of success and thoughts of well-being. You have to find ways of trusting. You have to have faith in her ability to guide herself even when she's demonstrating otherwise. What is the definition of faith anyway? Everything that we're talking about here, we're talking about holding a vibrational frequency even before the evidence is there. Well, if there has ever been a conversation where we would like to apply that, this is it. Where we want you to have faith in the success of your children even before they've figured out how to demonstrate it. Because they will never figure out how to demonstrate it if you don't have faith in their ability to guide themselves.
I want to get to that next level of grasping, staying more into the vortex. What would you recommend? I feel that I'm ready to push myself, or maybe I'm not using the right words, but to go into that next level.
Well, everything that we're talking about here today is about that. Let's just talk about how much you know, and then we will apply the next step in a really powerful way here. So the first thing that you must acknowledge is that this is a vibrational universe, and that you are vibrational, and that you are an extension of a very powerful, very pure, very non-resistant, very source energy vibration. That you are source, an extension of source. Next, you must understand, you must be willing to think about it often until it is a thought that you own. It is something that you don't just want to believe. It's not just something that you believe. It's something that you know for sure that well-being does abound, that source energy is powerful and good and focused to you and everyone else all the time. And that how you feel in any moment is about how much of that you're allowing yourself to receive in any moment in time. So when you see people hurting or angry or pinched off, just understand that for whatever reason they got a vibration going on that is preventing them from being in the receptive mode. But the offering mode is always, 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 always there. No one's being left out of this. So as you acknowledge that everyone has the opportunity to relax and find reception, then it makes it easier for you to find your uplifting part in first finding the reception mode for yourself, for your own benefit, and then for the benefit of the clarity of the example that it provides for anyone else. So over time, we've talked to you in lots of different ways to try to bring you up to speed with something that isn't utterly apparent to you, because you are translating vibrations so well you don't even realize that you're doing it. So we began making a series of statements and then backing them up with whole books to support them. And the first notion is that law of attraction is the most powerful law in the universe, and that it is activated all the time, and that it is responding to you in every waking moment. And then next we began saying that you can be a deliberate creator. You're usually not. You're usually creating by default because you're usually thinking thoughts all over the place. You're usually not paying attention to what you're thinking about. You're usually giving whatever's loudest or most evident in your experience, most active, most around you, most already manifested. That's what you're usually giving your attention to. But it doesn't have to be that way. Next, we began explaining to you that since you are an extension of source energy, that source energy part of you is calling you into alignment all the time. We began talking about going with the flow, of going in the direction of what is easier, not going against it, not going against the current, but going with the current. And then we began talking about how the life that you're living has caused you to create a vibrational reality that is vivid and real. It is the precursor to all good things that you are asking for, but that you've got to be in the receptive mode before you begin translating the vibration of that into what you call real life experience. And so today, if you're asking for something from us that on top of everything else that we've been giving you, and on top of so much that you are already understanding and applying, the thing that we want most for you to take away from this gathering is that well-being is, unless you're doing something to keep it from being in this moment. That to the degree that you are allowing yourself to feel ease, to the degree that you are allowing yourself to acknowledge well-being, that well-being will demonstrate itself all around you. So if we were talking to most humans who haven't been listening to us at all, who just took us from someone else's point of view and accepted that we are in a position to know things about the well-being that you speak and about the well-being that you seek, without being willing to take the time to understand the vibrational platform, these are the things that we would say in terms of doing. This is what we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes. We would stop introducing ourselves to the problems of the world. We would stop looking for trouble. We would stop looking for trouble in order to justify solutions that we are trying to discover to fix the problems. We would stop watching that continuous spewing of cable news. We would stop warning our children about things. We would stop being guarded ourselves. We would no longer be problem-oriented. We would be solution-oriented. We would look for reasons to feel good instead of reasons to feel bad. We would no longer justify why we are where we are to anyone. We wouldn't attempt to explain anything to anyone. We would accept that everyone has their own unique point of view, their own unique point of view and relationship between them and what they have become. And we would accept that there just aren't enough words in the world to make them understand completely what our point of view is. And so we wouldn't spend any time trying to convince them. It would no longer matter to us what anybody else thinks about our plan of action, because they aren't really going to understand it anyway. We would no longer put our nose in other people's business and try to control the things that they're doing. We would accept, and this is what we're leading up to. This is the new piece that we're leading up to, that we really want you to feel and practice. We would accept that attention to the conditions as they stand is the primary reason that we are disallowing ourselves alignment with who we really are, and so full access to that infinite intelligence. So we would make a decision to be more unconditional in the way that we are approaching life.